But freedom for a man like Michel Vaujour never lasted long because he never actually stopped. Not long after the helicopter escape, he was involved in another robbery attempt that went wrong, and this time there was no clever trick to talk his way out of it. In the confrontation that followed, Michel was shot in the head by police and fell into a coma. Everyone, including his own doctors, expected that to be the end of his story. It wasn't. And what happened after he woke up is the part almost nobody talks about, because it turns this from a crime story into something much stranger. Michel Vaujour survived the gunshot. That alone surprised the people treating him, but the injury changed him permanently, leaving him with lasting brain damage and putting an end, once and for all, to his career as an escape artist. Here's the part that turns this into one of those you can't make this up details. Somewhere in his long recovery, he discovered a talent for painting that he had never shown any sign of before in his life. A man who had spent decades breaking out of buildings started spending his time putting brush to canvas instead, and the work was good enough that it eventually got attention on its own merits. He remained in custody for years afterward, but the man walking out of prison in 2003 on parole was not the same man who'd escaped by helicopter in 1986. By his own account, decades later, he described his real escape as something bigger than any rooftop or aircraft. His actual greatest escape, he said, was from the version of himself that kept ending up behind bars in the first place. His story eventually became the subject of a French documentary, but here's the thing, in most of the English-speaking world, that documentary never crossed over, which means one of the most cinematic, well-documented, verifiably true prison escapes of the last 50 years just never made it into the popular history most of us grew up with. We know Alcatraz, we know The Great Escape from World War II, both incredible stories, both worth remembering, but somehow a helicopter escape involving fake grenades made of fruit, a wife who secretly learned to fly under a false name, and a man who survived a bullet to the head only to become a painter. That one slipped through the cracks. So here's the real question this story leaves you with. Nadine Vaujour risked everything, learned an entirely new skill in secret, and pulled off one of the most audacious rescues in modern history, all for someone she knew would probably end up back behind bars eventually. Was that loyalty? Was it love? Or was it something closer to obsession? You can make your own call on that one in the comments. If you want more true stories, this unbelievable, the ones that somehow never made it into the history books everyone else already knows, this channel is where you're gonna find them. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.